Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we're going to talk for a couple of minutes about the Italian cruisers. So, I've got to say this about the Italian cruisers. Except for the Amalfi, they're all kind of meh. Kind of meh, I mean very, very, very meh. So, SAP seems to be, of course, the extremely unique thing about these ships. And it's a good thing, but it's also a pretty bad thing. Because with SAP, you don't get any splash damage, you can't set any fires. Which, I mean, the guns are rather quite accurate-ish. The Amalfis are, and by the way, I've spent by far the most time with the Amalfi. And the trade-off for this seems to be that the guns are very accurate, but the fire rates of the ships are a bit high. And the Amalfi is the only one that, in my opinion, has a pretty decent fire rate. But on top of that, the cruisers aren't that well armored, to say the least. And of course, the Genovo, don't even need to talk about how terrible that thing is. That at least these other cruisers, they get smoke. The Genovo doesn't. So, I mean, and they're not terrible, but they're not rather good either. They're just kind of meh. And I gotta say, I'm kind of surprised that a line that has been anticipated for so long and these preview ships so far have just been so underwhelming. Now, I wasn't expecting these things to be exactly, destroyer of worlds or anything, but they're kind of a letdown. The Amalfi is the only one that's pretty decent. And even in the Amalfi, which I am enjoying right now, my games, they're not spectacular. I've had a couple of 100,000 damage games, but for the most part, I'm sticking around 70, 80,000 damage, which again, is not bad, but it's not particularly, high up there either. It's just kind of okay. So I'm not sure if this is a situation where it's like, okay, it's rather quite balanced, or it's balanced but they're a little underwhelming. So I mean, I think maybe a couple of things need to be done. Definitely some rate of fire changes on a good chunk of these ships. And I mean, again, they're not terrible. They're just so bland. And the big issue is, again, probably the best strength with is the SAP. And SAP is very, very good at absolutely just punching lightly armored ships in the face. And when you're, top tier, it works out quite well. But once you get up tiered, boy, do you struggle to get in a lot of damage. And again, it is the unique feature of the ship. For those of you that don't know, the only damage you can get with SAP is piercing damage. There's no splash damage, there's no fires, there's nothing but piercing damage, and they can't knock out modules. So, yeah. It's weird. It's really, really, really weird. It's a weird situation because with the Amalfi, I've had some great games, but since I am mostly hunting down destroyers and light cruisers, my damage isn't really all that high. And no, the whole point of the game isn't to, just farm damage. I've had many a game where I've been very useful to my team, but, my damage wasn't all that high, so I didn't really get that much of a reward out of it. And there should be a game on here that you're going to see that it's certainly one of the cases where I didn't do a whole lot of damage, but I was very, very beneficial to my team. But thankfully, I did manage to get third spot on the team. Probably just because of all the capping I had to do. And, it's a good ship, the Amalfi, and, in my opinion at least, but you just won't be stacking up a whole lot of damage numbers, because no HE. And the AP, on 203mm guns, when you get up tier, it's going to bounce off anything that isn't completely flat to you, even with the good velocity. Now, Lord, the torpedoes on the Amalfi, I thought they were going to be terrible because they were so slow. I don't know if the slowness plays into them, but the amount of times I just fling these things off in a direction where I think the enemy might be, and they actually connect, it's rather quite high. I'm surprised because all the other cruisers I do that with, they miss most of the time. Granted, they don't really have the same range as the Amalfi's torpedoes, but still, it's just like, oh, they might come that way, drop some torpedoes, and freaking minute later, drink. Okay, it's I don't know. It's funny. It's hilarious when it happens too. And that's where a lot of the fun comes from. Now the smoke screens. I think the smoke screens are they were a fantastic idea, and they work out great on all the ships. That mobile smoke screen. It's really freaking useful. I gotta say, I gotta thank Wargaming for adding that in. That's a new feature that I really, really, really like. And of course, using that will probably no, actually that will save your butt so much. Using that with these ships, and again, the Genova doesn't get one, so that's kind of ruins it. It's great for escaping. It's great for pulling off some sneak attacks. Now, of course, you can't disappear in front of somebody. They're gonna know where you're at. They're gonna be able to follow the smoke screen, but you can pull off some sneaky maneuvers and stuff and reposition in time to surprise them by the time your smoke screen runs out. And it doesn't last very long. I think it's like 40-ish seconds in the Amalfi, and it only lingers behind for about 10 seconds too. So, not you can't sit in it and gun anything. Well, you could, but you would only get like 3 salvos off. So it's fun to use that. The torpedoes are fun on the. Again, I'm mostly speaking about the Amalfi because it's the only one that I think is actually above average. The torpedoes are pretty good. The speed is great on the Amalfi. It's great at dodging. This is for sure an open water, never take your foot off the gas type of cruiser that is really, 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 really well equipped to deal with destroyers. And it's not the HE spam way of dealing with destroyers. It's SAP. You can completely smack, and there's a clip in here somewhere where I just like smack the crap out of a Benson and almost erase all of his health because he goes broadside onto me, and semi-armor piercing does exactly what it's supposed to do and does massive damage to him. So it's a pretty good anti-destroyer cruiser. It's really good against light cruisers too, because the AP, if you can hit the Citadel, and again these guns are really quite accurate, you will do a lot of damage to their Citadel. Even though the semi-armor piercing that's weird too. The semi-armor piercing does a little bit more damage than the AP does if it pins. But of course they can't get Citadels, whereas the AP you can get Citadels. So really the only time you need to be switching between SAP and armor piercing is 2 conditions. One, there's a cruiser you can Citadel, and you can hit a Citadel, go for it. Or if there's a battleship that's broadside onto you, and SAP won't be able to pierce the hull, and you can go ahead and switch over to the AP and get some pretty good pins out of it. Other than that, you're going to be sticking with SAP most of the time. And this is it's actually is most of the line, but we've seen them, but we don't have access to the tier 9 to the tier 10 Italian cruisers. And if they keep going in the direction of the Amalfi and building on its strengths, and I would imagine by tier 9 we should get a hill. And again, the Amalfi, if this thing had a hill, it would be great, but I do understand why it doesn't have one. It would be a bit much. But the tier 9 and tier 10, I imagine those two will have hills. So they should be quite good. I'm excited to get those ships. But for now, the ones that we have, tier 4 through tier 7, kind of a look down. Doesn't look like it's going to be a particularly fun grind. Maybe if you're looking to go through the Italian cruiser line once it comes out, I would certainly recommend start saving up some free XP to skip through most of those ships, because they really aren't that great. And who knows, Wargaming may tweak them before it goes final, but usually when these preview ships come out, they're pretty set in stone. So from what I'm looking at, most of the line's going to be meh, 8, 9, and 10. And again, if they keep going in the direction of the Amalfi, they should be pretty good, but who knows, sometimes the tier 9, tier 10 just take an entirely different direction. But if they keep going in the same direction as the Amalfi, they should be pretty dang good. And like I said, I'm enjoying the Amalfi right now. So most of the line, meh. Higher tiers, looking to be the silver lining for this line. Well, this up to you guys to determine what you want to do with the Italian cruiser line. If you want to free XP through the lower tiers, or if you're willing to grind through all of that mess, more power to you. But hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. We are on our way to 5,000 subscribers, and we are, as of me recording this, just under actually no, just over 400 subscribers away from hitting our 5,000 subscriber goal. I cannot thank you guys enough for that. It's been an amazing week here on the channel. We've had a lot of growth, and it's really made my week. Oh, also, come out tonight for the live stream. I will be live streaming here on the channel from 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. U.S. Central Time. We had some internet problems last week, but I'm hoping I got those cleared up this week. And again, it should all go smooth tonight. So hope to see you guys there, and also hope to see you guys in the next one.